Hello everyone, today's topic is React Hook Form. So this is a library that will help you validating your forms and also cover some basic functionalities about the form and the input fields. I will be using the template project from Create React App with the TypeScript preset, and here you can find some basic documentation and examples about React Hook Form, which is an official website for the library, and I will be using JSON placeholder as a fake API in order to submit some forms. Here you can find different routes for making a request. Let's get started. I will go back to the project and go to the app component. So we have this basic template, but I will create the components folder where I will create a postform component which should hold the form element. And that form will be in charge for creating a new post. So I can close the terminal now. And the name of the component will be postform. It will be function component. And it should return the basic template that will have a form element as a wrapper. And inside I will create an input with a type text. And I can also add a placeholder since I'm not going to add any labels. So the placeholder will be title. This input will stand for title. And I will wrap it with a div element because I want to have it like in the separate block. And another one will be for the body of the post. And it will also have a placeholder that says that this is the body of the post. Now I will also add a separate block for the submit button. It will contain the text submit, and it will also have a type submit. And below everything I will export this component, and I can include it now in the app component. So I can remove these unnecessary imports. And if you open the browser, you will see the form. So I'm pretty sure you know how the form works, but I will show you how you can enrich form functionalities by using React Hook Form. I will open the terminal and a new window. I will install React Hook Form. And now when the process is done, I will close the terminal. And now I can use useForm custom hook from React Hook Form, which will be responsible for managing the form element. useForm will return an object of methods. So one of them will be register, which I'm going to use in order to register input fields inside of the hook and also add them to validation process and submission process. But first I will create an interface for the form values. I will call it form data, and it will contain title and body, and both of them will be strings. I will pass form data to the useForm, and now I can use register for each of the input fields. So I will call register method with the name of the field, and I will spread the value of the register method so it will pass all the necessary properties to the input field, like the name or on change or on blur, so stuff like that. useForm will also return handle submit method, so I will show you how it works. I will add onSubmit event handler and pass handle submit method with a function as an argument, and I will create this function right now. So it will be named onSubmit, or better I can change it to onFormSubmit in order to avoid confusion between the event name and the function name. So it will have data as a parameter, and I can console log this data in order to check what it is. But I can already tell you that it will have a type of form data. So let's go to the browser and open the terminal. So if I switch to the console, I will write hello world and some post body. And when I press submit, I will have the data object in the console. So you can see that React hook form replaces a lot of stuff about creating a state that will manage forms data. This way everything is done automatically. Now it's time to add some validation rules. So I will go to the input field, and inside of the register method I will pass an object with the properties of validation rules. So the first one will be that this field is required. I will set it to true, and we can also specify that we want to have a max length of 10 characters. Below the input field I will create a div element where I will display messages about the errors, and all validation errors will be stored inside of the form state in the special property called errors. So it will be provided by useForm. Now you can search for the title field inside of the errors object and check if the type of the error is equal to required. So in this case I want to display a message that the input field is empty. So I will return a span element and the text will be title field is required. And you can also make the text red. And let's go to the browser and see our validation in action. If we submit the form, the error message will appear. And we can do the same for other validation rules. So I will just check for the type of max length. And if the title exceeds the number of specified characters, we can just add a proper message for that. So let's type something that is more than 10 characters. And I will also like to show you one more validation rule, which is a pattern. So we can provide a regex expression. So if the title doesn't fulfill the pattern, we will just return the error. In this specific example, I would like to make the title contain only letters. Let's also add the error message for that. So for the title field, I will check if there is an error with the type pattern, and I will display a proper text. So it should say that the title should contain only letters. Let's break the rule and write some numbers in the title field, so the error message should appear. I would like to let the user close the error message, so when the error appears, there will be an X button next to the message, and when the user clicks on it, the error will disappear. So I will use clear errors method, which comes from the useForm hook, and I will pass the name of the field, which is title in this case. I will also add a type button to this element, and now when the error appears, I will be able to remove it. The next thing that I want to add is a button that will reset the values of the form input fields. It will be next to the submit button, and it will have the type of button, and the text will be reset. The method that I'm going to use is reset from the useForm, and on click event I will call this method, which will clean the input values. Let's open the browser and type some random text and click on the reset button, and the input fields are empty. One thing that I wanted to show you is that you can provide a default values to the useForm hook. So I will create an object with the title and the body properties. And let's say that I want to have post number 1 as a default value of the post title. And inside of the useForm, I will pass an object with default values property. And if I refresh the page, post number 1 should be displayed. But I will return it to the empty strings. Next thing will be watch method. So I will use it when I want to watch a specific input field and its value. So I can store that value in the variable. So I will watch for the title input and for the body input fields. And let's say that I want to have like a preview of the post. I will create the element below, but first I will create a fragment. And below the form, I will create a div element which should hold the preview, and it will have the heading, and also I will display title in the heading level 4 and the body in the paragraph. And I can conditionally display this preview section by checking for the fields title and the body. So if there are any value in the title or in the body input, the preview will be displayed. So now when I type something in the input fields, the preview will be automatically updated. Let's actually type something meaningfully and make a better example. Now I would like to show you set focus method, and I would like to set a focus to the input field when the user clicks on the preview title or the preview body. So I will call set focus with the proper input name as a parameter. Let's open the browser and see how it works. I will add post title and the post body. And now when I click on the preview elements, the related input field should be on focus. I wouldn't like to let the onForm submit with the console log. I would like to add an actual request. So I will use the routes for the post request, and I will search in the guide so I can copy and paste this part of the code. So I will use the fetch method, and I will replace the body with the data, and I will change the function to be asynchronous because I need to await for the fetch method, and I will wrap it in the try catch block because I want to show you how you can set the error manually. And this can be really handy if you have like the error on the server side and you want to display a message on the client side. There is a set error method from the useForm, and I will use it in the catch block. So I will set the error for the title field, and we can specify a custom type of this error. The error might be that the post with the given title already exists. And we can specify if we want to set this input on focus when the error occurs. Let's add a proper validation error message, and I will check for the type post already exists, and the text will be post with this title already exists. We don't have a real backend, so it is not possible to check the status of the response and everything. So I will just change the URL to be invalid, and I will get an error from the response, which should set the error for the title field. So we have the error message. Let's revert the URL back and test it again with a proper URL to make sure that everything is right. Okay. So in this specific example, both inputs are in the same post form component, and it is really easy to manage register and other methods from the useForm hook. So I guess you're wondering what will happen if we have like a nested input fields somewhere in the children components. So let's find out. I will create a text input component. And it will be a function component. And it should return the input field that we have in the post form. I will export this component, and don't worry about the error for the register method. We will tackle that later. And I will create another component which will be text input wrapper, and it will just contain the text input. I just wanted to create a nested structure of components. There will be a div element which will contain the text input, and I will export this component as well. And now I can just use text input wrapper inside of the post form component. Now the question is how to register this input field. React Hook Form offers a form provider which will create a context that will be accessible by children components. So I will import FormProvider and wrap the form element with this special component. So now the form provider will require methods as a property, and I will need to pass all the methods from the useForm to the form provider. And I will restructure this a little bit. So I will do object destructuring, and now it will be much easier to pass form methods to the form provider. I will just spread all the methods that are inside the object. And now the register should be accessible by using the useFormContext hook, which also comes from the React hook form. And now I will be able to access all the necessary methods. And if you check in the browser, everything should work the same. With this approach, we can be more flexible regarding the component structure. And speaking about that, we can also create a special component for the error messages. And I will call it post title validation errors. And it should return the template for the errors of the post title. This should be a function component, and I will use the same useFormContext. And now I will have access to the errors and also clear errors method. So let's just import useFormContext. And I will also need to export the component. And now I can use it inside of the post form. And everything remained the same. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching. If you find it useful, please share it and subscribe to my channel. Thanks.